Oh, let's go.
So, what happens when a huge WNBA star tries out a whole new sport? What if she ends up getting more attention there than her own league ever gave her? That's what happened with Caitlin Clark at the RSM Classic. She didn't just play, she became the star of the show.
Okay. So serious. Did you put snaps in here? Yeah. You guys want to get out here and hit some? Hit it hard. We're here.
So, Caitlin Clark is playing golf again. She is playing in, she played in another Pro-Am, and as expected, you know, Caitlin Clark golf is the most relevant thing in women's basketball.
But here's the thing, while golf fans and legends were totally cheering her on, her own WNBA peers, not so much. They weren't exactly thrilled. So, is it just jealousy we're seeing here? Or is there something way deeper going on? Let's really break this down.
You got it too. Continue to work the cameras back.
Caitlin's playing in Pro-Ams right now.
I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? I'm a big fan of Caitlin Clark, obviously, being a women's sport, and there's not a lot that this young woman cannot do. This is her second shot into the par 4 13.
Okay, so let's dive into the details. Caitlin Clark has been making huge waves for years now. She was the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, right? She's built this reputation as one of basketball's most exciting young athletes, known for those impossible three-pointers and leading her team like a pro. But her journey hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. Her fierce competitiveness and self-assurance, they haven't always been accepted, even within her own league. Now, she enters the RSM Classic, not just as an athlete, but as a basketball player looking for a challenge and some fun. For Caitlin, golf is her escape. And get this, she didn't just participate, she actually performed incredibly well, teaming up with Ryder Cup captain Zach Johnson and PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan. She quickly showed everyone she wasn't your typical amateur. We're talking 270-yard drives. Her focus and charm blew everyone away, even herself. And when she messed up, like that opening drive into the water, she just shook it off and refocused. That resilience, that's what makes Caitlin special. But here's what's crazy. While the golf world celebrated her, the WNBA, total silence. No congratulations, no social media mentions, nothing. And it wasn't a mistake, it was a conscious decision. For anyone who hasn't been following, this might seem odd, but for those watching her career, Caitlin Clark has often been seen as a disruptor, someone who doesn't quite fit the WNBA's narrative. At the RSM Classic, she wasn't just crushing golf shots. She was connecting with fans everywhere. People were lining up for autographs, kids were looking up to her, and parents were thanking her for being a great role model. Even Zach Johnson's daughter wanted a photo. These weren't just sweet moments. They were a masterclass in building a brand. Caitlin wasn't just messing around with her fan base. She was building bridges between sports. She was showing the world that women athletes can go beyond their main field. Meanwhile, hostilities started brewing in the WNBA. We saw these slightly ambiguous tweets popping up from accounts connected to some players. Remarks like, "Stay in your lane," or "Funny how some people get all this attention." These weren't random comments. Caitlin's growing notoriety was clearly upsetting some people. Listen, this isn't the first time she's faced opposition. Early on, there were whispers that she needed to tone it down because she was too arrogant. Critics called her self-assurance haughtiness, even though male athletes often get praised for the exact same thing. Caitlin usually just ignored it, kept leading her team, and played her game. But this time, the criticism felt different. It wasn't just about her game, it was about her stepping outside basketball and succeeding. Now, let's talk about the golf world's response. Jay Monahan, the PGA commissioner, couldn't stop complimenting Caitlin. He called her transcendent, a word rarely used, even for pros. Zach Johnson, a legend himself, described her as a rare breed and said her humility was her main strength. These are seasoned pros, admiring her skill and character. But maybe the most telling moment was when the crowd at the RSM Classic started chanting Caitlin Clark. The star of a basketball game was dominating a golf tournament. That's just wild. The WNBA, meanwhile, stayed silent. They had a massive chance to benefit from her crossover appeal, but they blew it. Some say it's envy. Others argue Caitlyn doesn't fit the league's image. Whatever the reason, the lack of support was glaring. She was raising awareness for women's sports and her own league, and they couldn't even send a simple congrats. On social media, golf fans were absolutely going off, praising Caitlyn for shattering stereotypes and bringing new audiences to the sport. WNBA fans, though, they were divided. Some argued she was boosting the league's visibility. Others claimed she was overshadowing teammates and just chasing personal glory. It's that classic tall poppy syndrome, where if someone rises too high, others try to chop them down. But Caitlyn, she didn't seem bothered. In a post-round interview, she talked about the criticism with grace. She said, "I'm just here to enjoy myself and improve." She called golf a challenging but wonderful escape, and she was grateful for the opportunity. Her remarks were a simple but powerful reminder. She's not trying to win them over. She's just playing for herself. This mindset is what makes Caitlyn so genuine and captivating. She's unaffected by the noise, focused on her goals, whether she's hitting a 270-yard drive or a three-point. She's pursuing her passion, her own way. That kind of self-assurance is rare, especially when athletes are often pressured to conform. Plus, the LPGA even had some of its stars chime in, saying they'd love to see Caitlyn play more. Fans loved her, calling her a breath of fresh air, and complimenting her for bridging the gap between golf and basketball. This huge wave of support sharply contrasted with the indifferent attitude from the WNBA. Let's not sugarcoat it. The WNBA's silence isn't just disappointing, it's revealing. It shows a league that struggles to market its players effectively and seems to be in trouble. Caitlyn's rise through personal achievement highlights the league's weaknesses and its failure to embrace one of its brightest stars. Instead of celebrating her accomplishments, the league and some players have chosen to keep their distance. It's a lost chance, to say the least. Caitlyn doesn't need the WNBA's validation. Her actions speak louder than their silence. At the RSM Classic, she was more than just a golfer. She inspired a new generation of young fans who had never even watched a WNBA game. Their parents, avid golfers, were suddenly curious about her basketball career. Caitlyn Clark was building a bridge that the WNBA. Despite some WNBA players' backlash, Caitlyn's star only got stronger and kept rising. She was more than just a basketball player or a golfer. She was a trailblazer. As her detractors tried to bring her down, Caitlyn stayed focused on what she valued, enjoying the journey and inspiring others. So what's next for Caitlyn Clark and the WNBA? Will they finally embrace her success, or will politics and jealousy keep getting in the way? And what about the golf world? Could we see Caitlyn in more pro competitions, or even something bigger? One thing is for sure, Caitlyn Clark isn't waiting for anyone's approval. She's carving her own path, and the world is definitely watching. The WNBA's silence is more than just a message, it's a choice. While Caitlyn Clark is being recognized as a rising golf star, her own league has chosen to ignore her success, and some of its participants are making blatantly disparaging remarks. But here's the worst part. It only makes Caitlyn's fan base grow stronger. Let's talk about the fallout, the responses from fans, and all the implications for Caitlyn's future. When she finished her amazing performance at the RSM Classic, she probably didn't expect her success to turn into a firestorm. It was supposed to be a fun diversion, a chance to show her competitive spirit in a new arena. But instead of being honored, Caitlyn found herself at the heart of a growing dispute. Those subtle jabs from WNBA players, they started escalating after her outstanding performance. One well-known athlete even tweeted, "Golf enthusiasts, she's not that good, so don't get it twisted. I wrote because I was sick of people hyping mediocrity simply because they find her appealing personality." Wow, these weren't just random trolls. These were Caitlyn's peers, who know how hard it is to succeed in professional sports. But instead of supporting her, they decided to tear her down. However, the golf world had a completely different response. Supporters couldn't stop talking about her calmness, her natural brilliance, and her ability to connect. PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan summed it up perfectly. What she brings to the game is transcendent. It's more than simply talent, it's heart, humility, and the type of competitive fire that we require more of in sports. That praise wasn't just surface level. It was genuine appreciation for someone who stepped out of her comfort zone and totally delivered. But while Caitlyn was gaining admirers in one world, she was losing popularity in another. The WNBA's failure to recognize her success became an obvious problem. This is one of their best players, someone putting women's sports on the map in new and exciting ways, and the league couldn't even send a congratulatory tweet. The silence spoke volumes, and fans noticed. Discussions erupted on social media. Caitlyn's fans argued she was boosting women's sports visibility. Critics accused her of overshadowing other WNBA players and just chasing individual glory. But look, Caitlyn wasn't trying to overshadow anyone. She was just following her passion, and in doing so, she was drawing positive attention to herself and her league. The fact that her success was painted as a danger, that revealed way more about her detractors than it did about her. One of the most outspoken WNBA players even rolled her eyes at a press conference when asked about Caitlyn's performance at the RSM Classic. She said, "I believe we should be concentrating on the players who are genuinely assisting league growth. Golf won't fill the seats at our game." That remark was critical, sure, but it also exposed a profound lack of confidence. Caitlyn's rising popularity within the league was drawing attention to the WNBA's struggles to promote its stars effectively. And instead of solving those problems, some players were just venting their annoyance at her. Caitlyn, meanwhile, just kept handling the criticism with grace in interviews. She stayed upbeat, focusing on her love for golf and the pure joy of it. "I simply enjoy having fun and competing. Challenging myself," she said in one post-round interview. Sports interviews are meant to unite people, and she was trying to do just that. Her humility and genuine nature just made her even more appealing to fans. And those Caitlyn crossover fans, the attraction has been nothing short of outstanding. At the RSM Classic, families waited in line to greet her. Young daughters looked up to her as an inspiration, and even experienced golfers were drawn to her fascinating personality. From her 270-yard drives to her conversations, her fans received millions of views. She wasn't merely a basketball player or a golfer, she was truly becoming a culture cult golfer.